The message arrived on a quiet Tuesday morning. At first, the radio operators at Earth's deep space listening post thought it was just another burst of cosmic noise. But this signal was different. It repeated in perfect intervals, too precise to be natural. Admiral James Thompson stood before the United Earth Council, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic display showing the alien transmission. The message was simple but chilling. Your species will submit or face extinction. We are the Eternal Ones. We have ruled this galaxy since before your kind crawled from the oceans. You have 48 hours to surrender. The council chamber fell silent. Thompson's fingers drummed against the polished metal table as he studied the faces around him. Some showed fear, others anger, but most displayed grim determination. They're approaching from the Orion Arm, Thompson explained, pointing to the tactical display. Our long-range sensors detect over 3,000 ships. Each one is bigger than anything we've ever built. One of the council members, an older man with gray hair, leaned forward. But they don't know about the battleships, do they? Thompson allowed himself a small smile. No, they don't. The quantum drive ships have been our best-kept secret. 12 vessels, hidden in the dark side of Mars, ready for combat. The aliens who called themselves the Eternal Ones had dominated the galaxy for millions of years. They had crushed countless civilizations, forced thousands of species into servitude, and believed themselves unbeatable. But they had grown comfortable in their power, relying on the same technology that had served them for eons. Meanwhile, humanity had almost destroyed itself 50 years ago. A global war had pushed them to the brink of extinction. But from those ashes, they had rebuilt, advancing their technology at an unprecedented rate. The near death of their species had taught them valuable lessons. They had unified, focused their efforts on defense, and developed technologies that the Eternal Ones couldn't even imagine. Thompson walked to the window overlooking Earth's capital city. The gleaming towers stretched into the clouds, a testament to human resilience. In underground bunkers beneath those towers, quantum computers were already analyzing the alien transmission, searching for weaknesses. We have an advantage they don't expect, Thompson continued. They think we're primitive because we haven't expanded beyond our solar system. They don't realize we've been preparing for this moment. The council's leader stood up. How effective are our battleships against their technology? Based on the data we've gathered from their transmission, Thompson replied, their weapons are powerful but predictable. They haven't developed new combat techniques in thousands of years. Our ships are smaller, faster, and equipped with technology they've never encountered. Emergency alerts began flashing across the room's displays. A scout fleet from the Eternal Ones had just entered the solar system, earlier than expected. They were heading straight for Earth, probably hoping to frighten humanity into submission with a show of force. Thompson straightened his uniform. I need the Council's authorization to deploy the battleships. The vote was unanimous. Within minutes, Thompson was in the secure command center beneath the city. He watched as 12 dark shapes emerged from their hiding places behind Mars, their quantum drives powering up. Each ship was a masterpiece of human engineering, designed to fight enemies exactly like the Eternal Ones. All ships report ready for combat, his communications officer announced. Thompson took a deep breath. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment, but now that it had arrived, he felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. They were about to challenge an empire that had ruled the galaxy since before humans existed. Send this message to all ships, he ordered. Operation First Light is now active. Show these Eternal Ones why they should have left Earth alone. As the quantum drives engaged, Thompson thought about how the aliens had miscalculated. They expected to find a primitive species, easy to conquer. Instead, they were about to face humanity's most advanced weapons, crewed by men and women who had trained their entire lives for this fight. The first battle for Earth's freedom was about to begin. 3 hours after the Eternal One's ultimatum, Earth received another message. This one came through hidden channels, scrambled and weak. When decoded, it revealed a surprising truth. Humanity had secret allies. The message came from a species called the Watchers. They had survived under the Eternal One's rule by pretending to be primitive and harmless. But they had been quietly observing everything, waiting for someone strong enough to fight back. Do not surrender, the message read. The Eternal Ones destroy everything they touch. They turned our worlds into mining colonies. They crushed our cities. But your species has something we've never seen before, the power to fight them. Admiral Thompson shared this information with Captain Robert Miller, who commanded Earth's newest battleship, the UES Defiant. Miller had helped design the quantum drives that made their ship so special. He understood better than anyone why Earth had a real chance of winning. 50 years ago, Miller explained to his crew, we almost destroyed ourselves in the last war. But that war taught us something important. It showed us how dangerous we could be and what we needed to do to survive. The crew listened carefully as Miller continued. After the last war, when only 1 billion humans remained, the survivors had made a choice. Instead of fighting each other, they would prepare to fight anything that threatened them from space. They built better computers, stronger ships, and weapons that could pierce any known shield. While Miller briefed his crew, more messages arrived from other alien species. They all said the same thing. The Eternal Ones were powerful but slow to change. They had used the same tactics and technology for thousands of years. They didn't expect anything new or different. The scout fleet from the Eternal Ones entered Earth's detection range. Their ships were massive, each one 5 times larger than Earth's biggest battleship. They moved slowly, confident in their power, not bothering to hide or take defensive positions. They're so sure of themselves, Thompson said, watching the tactical display. They think size and age mean everything. They haven't fought a real battle in 50,000 years. Earth's defense network tracked every move the alien ships made. Their weapons were strong but predictable. Their shields were tough but followed patterns that computers could analyze. Most importantly, they hadn't detected Earth's battleships yet, hidden behind a new type of stealth field. Miller walked through his ship, checking every station. The crew worked quietly, professionally. They had trained for years in secret, preparing for this moment. Every person on board knew exactly what to do. Enemy ships will enter weapons range in 20 minutes, the tactical officer reported. Thompson gave his final briefing to all ship captains. Remember your training. They expect us to be primitive and scared. They think we'll surrender as soon as they show their weapons. Let them think that right until the moment we prove them wrong. The Eternal One ships moved closer, their ancient engines glowing with purple fire. They'd broadcast their message again, demanding surrender, promising to spare Earth if humans agreed to serve them forever. In his command chair, Miller looked at the photos on his display. They showed Earth's cities from 50 years ago, burned and broken from the last war. Next to them were pictures of the same cities now, rebuilt stronger and better. Humanity had learned from its mistakes. They had turned their worst moment into their greatest strength. All ships, prepare for combat. Thompson's voice came through the comm system. Today we show the galaxy that humanity will never surrender. Today we teach the Eternal Ones that age and size don't win battles. Intelligence, courage, and determination do. The first battle for humanity's future was about to begin. The Eternal Ones fired first. Massive energy beams cut through space, aimed at Earth's orbital defense stations, but the stations weren't there anymore. They had been holograms, designed to trick the enemy into revealing their weapons. All ships, execute attack pattern Delta, Admiral Thompson ordered. The 12 Earth battleships dropped their stealth fields and appeared behind the alien fleet. The Eternal One's ships were caught completely off guard. They had never seen vessels appear from nowhere before. Captain Miller's ship, the UES Defiant, led the first strike. Target their lead vessel, he commanded. Show them what our quantum cannons can do. The Defiant's main weapon powered up. Unlike the Eternal One's energy beams, which traveled in straight lines, the quantum cannon bent space itself. The alien ship's shields were useless against it. The beam struck, and the massive vessel split in half. Impossible. The Eternal One's transmission filled all channels. Your species is too young to have such weapons. Miller smiled as his crew cheered. The Defiant spun gracefully between two enemy ships, its smaller size now a huge advantage. The quantum drive let them move in ways the aliens had never seen, ignoring the normal rules of space combat. 3 alien ships surrounded the Defiant, thinking they had trapped it. Miller pressed a button on his command chair. Activate the phase shields. The enemy weapons passed harmlessly through the Defiant, their energy dispersed across multiple dimensions. Their shields are failing. Miller's tactical officer reported. They keep trying to adapt to our weapons, but they can't understand how they work. The other Earth battleships joined the fight. They moved like dancers, their quantum drives letting them appear and disappear at will. The Eternal One's massive ships tried to fight back, but they were too slow, too predictable. Admiral Thompson watched from his command center as the battle unfolded. The aliens had arrived with 30 scout ships, each one ancient and powerful. But they fought like they had 50,000 years ago, using the same tactics that had always worked before. Status report, Thompson called out. 8 enemy ships destroyed. His officer replied. 4 more heavily damaged. No damage to our vessels. Their weapons can't get through our phase shields. The Eternal Ones tried to retreat, but Earth's ships were faster. The quantum drives let them cut off every escape route. More alien ships exploded as humanity's advanced weapons tore through their defenses. On the Defiant, Miller ordered another attack run. His ship sliced between 2 enemy vessels, quantum cannons firing with perfect accuracy. Both alien ships erupted in flames, their ancient hulls no match for Earth's new technology. This is impossible. The Eternal Ones kept broadcasting. We are the oldest species. We have ruled for millions of years. You cannot defeat us. Age doesn't matter, Miller transmitted back. What matters is never stopping learning, never becoming comfortable, never thinking you're unbeatable. The battle lasted less than an hour. When it ended, the Eternal One's scout fleet was destroyed. Not a single Earth ship had been lost. The first battle in history where humanity had fought an alien force, and they had won completely. Thompson sent a message to the main alien fleet, still approaching from deep space. This was just our first demonstration. Retreat now or face the same fate. Earth is not yours to conquer. The Eternal Ones didn't respond, but long-range sensors showed their main fleet had stopped advancing. For the first time in 50,000 years, they faced something they didn't understand, a younger species that had surpassed them. Miller looked at the debris of alien ships floating in space. They thought they were gods, he said to his crew. Today they learned they're not. And this is just the beginning. News of Earth's victory spread through the galaxy faster than light. The Watchers sent the battle recordings to every enslaved species. For the first time in 50,000 years, someone had defeated the Eternal Ones in combat. The alien messages poured in. Some came from worlds so distant that their light hadn't even reached Earth yet. They all wanted to know the same thing. How had humanity done it? Admiral Thompson stood in a secure conference room, speaking with the first alien ambassadors brave enough to visit Earth. They weren't impressive to look at, small, gray-skinned beings who had survived by appearing weak. But their eyes showed sharp intelligence. Your quantum technology, one of them said, studying the hologram of an Earth battleship. We've never seen anything like it. The Eternal Ones don't allow their subjects to develop new weapons or drives. That was their mistake, Thompson replied. They thought keeping everyone weak would keep them strong. Instead, it made them stop growing. Captain Miller joined the meeting, bringing tactical data from the battle. The aliens gathered around him, asking questions about Earth's weapons and shields. They had spent thousands of years hiding their true intelligence from their masters. Now they could finally show it. We can help you, another ambassador offered. We know every weakness in their supply lines, every flaw in their patrol routes. We've been watching and waiting for a chance like this. In space, Earth's 12 battleships patrolled the solar system. Long-range sensors showed the Eternal One's main fleet regrouping. They had over 3,000 ships, but now they moved cautiously, unsure of what they faced. The Watchers weren't the only ones offering help. Other species began sending technical data about the Eternal One ships. Each piece of information revealed more about how old and unchanging their technology was. "Look at this," Miller said, pointing to a scan of an alien engine. "They haven't updated their power systems in 10,000 years. They think they're perfect. They think nothing can beat them." Thompson studied the reports from across the galaxy. The Eternal One's empire was huge but fragile. They controlled their subjects through fear and tradition, not loyalty or respect. Now that fear was breaking. "Multiple alien fleets are rebelling," a communications officer reported. "They're using our battle tactics against the Eternal One's patrols. The Empire is losing control of entire sectors." In their hidden bases throughout the galaxy, slave species began sabotaging their masters' ships and stations. They had spent generations learning every detail of the Eternal One's technology. Now they could turn that knowledge against them. Miller walked through his ship, watching as his crew worked with alien technical advisors. The visitors were amazed by how much humanity had accomplished in such a short time. They helped identify weaknesses in the enemy's shields that even Earth's advanced sensors hadn't spotted. "The main fleet will attack soon," Thompson told the United Earth Council. "They have to. If they wait too long, they'll lose control of their empire. But now we know exactly how they fight, and we have allies everywhere in their territory." The Watchers and other rebel species offered their own ships to help defend Earth. Thompson declined politely. Earth's 12 battleships were more than enough, and the rebel ships could do more damage behind enemy lines. "Keep disrupting their supply lines," he told the ambassadors. "Keep spreading the word. Show the galaxy that the Eternal Ones aren't gods. They're just bullies who got comfortable and stopped evolving." The final battle was coming, but now Earth wasn't fighting alone. They had the support of countless species who had waited centuries for this chance. The age of the Eternal Ones was ending, and everyone knew it. The Eternal Ones attacked at dawn. 3,000 ships dropped out of light speed, their ancient engines burning with purple fire. At their center flew their flagship, twice the size of all other vessels. Their supreme commander had come to crush Earth personally. "So many," Captain Miller whispered, watching from the Defiance Bridge. The enemy fleet filled the space between Mars and Earth, their ships blocking out the stars. Each one was larger than a city, bristling with weapons that had destroyed countless civilizations. Admiral Thompson's voice came through the comm system, calm and steady. "All ships, execute Battle Plan Omega. Remember your training. Remember what we fight for." Earth's 12 battleships powered up their quantum drives. They looked tiny compared to the massive alien armada, like insects facing dragons. But size hadn't mattered in the first battle, and it wouldn't matter now. The Eternal One's supreme commander broadcast his message to Earth. "Your tricks worked once, but we have adapted. Surrender now, or watch your world burn." Miller smiled. The aliens thought they had adapted, but they had only prepared for the weapons Earth had already shown them. They didn't know about the surprises waiting in every human ship. "All weapons ready," Miller's tactical officer reported. "Quantum shields at full power. New stealth systems online." The battle began. The Eternal Ones fired thousands of energy beams at once, enough firepower to crack a planet. But Earth's ships weren't where they appeared to be. The quantum drives let them exist in multiple places at once, making it impossible to know which images were real. "Now," Thompson ordered. Earth's battleships struck from 12 different directions at once. Their quantum cannons had been modified, thanks to data from their alien allies. The beams cut through the enemy fleet's formation, destroying 20 ships in the first strike. The Eternal Ones tried to fight back, but their weapons were useless against Earth's new defensive systems. Their massive ships turned slowly, trying to track targets that disappeared and reappeared at will. On the Defiant, Miller led a direct attack on the alien flagship. His ship danced between enemy vessels, its quantum field disrupting their targeting systems. The aliens had never imagined that a smaller ship could be so dangerous. Their shields are adapting, Miller's science officer warned, but they can only defend against things they understand. Switching to chaos field generators. The new weapons worked perfectly. They didn't try to break through the enemy's shields. They changed the laws of physics around them. Alien ships started crumbling as their own energy fields turned against them. Impossible. The Supreme Commander broadcast. We have ruled space for millions of years. We cannot be defeated by children. Thompson's reply was calm. You stopped growing. You thought being old meant being perfect. That was your mistake. The battle raged for hours. Earth's ships took some hits, but their quantum shields held. Meanwhile, hundreds of alien vessels fell to weapons they couldn't understand. The rebels had been right. The Eternal Ones couldn't adapt to completely new ideas. Miller's ship reached the alien flagship. The massive vessel tried to escape, but the Defiant was too quick. Quantum cannons fired, their beams piercing shields that had protected the Supreme Commander for thousands of years. Target their main reactor, Miller ordered. End this. The Defiant's final shot struck true. The alien flagship exploded in a burst of purple fire. The remaining Eternal One ships stopped fighting, their crews shocked by the death of their Supreme Commander. Thompson opened a channel to all ships, friend and foe alike. The age of the Eternal Ones is over. Surrender now, and we can build a better galaxy together. Fight on, and face the same fate as your leader. The battle that would change the galaxy forever was reaching its end. The remains of the Eternal One's fleet hung in space like broken stars. More than 2,000 of their ships had been destroyed. The survivors, less than 800 vessels, had surrendered, their crews unable to believe what they had witnessed. Captain Miller stood on the Defiant's observation deck, watching as Earth ships guided the captured alien vessels to safe positions. His crew worked alongside former enemies, teaching them about the technologies that had defeated them. They're like children, Miller told Admiral Thompson through the comm. They've used the same tools for so long, they forgot how to learn new things. The news spread across the galaxy at light speed. Everywhere, enslaved species rose up against their former masters. The Eternal One's empire had ruled through fear and tradition. Now both were broken. Thompson received reports from 1,000 worlds. Their command structure is falling apart. He told the United Earth Council. They can't handle change. They don't know what to do when their old ways stop working. On the Defiant, Miller talked with a captured alien commander. The beam was ancient, its skin marked with symbols of high rank. But now it looked lost, almost afraid. How did you do it? The alien asked. How did such a young species create weapons we couldn't understand? Miller's answer was simple. We never stopped learning. We never thought we were perfect. Every failure taught us something new. Every problem made us stronger. The Watchers and other rebel species sent messages of thanks to Earth. They had spent thousands of years gathering intelligence on their masters, waiting for someone strong enough to use it. Now they offered to share their knowledge, to help build something better than the old empire. Thompson watched from his command center as the galaxy changed. The Eternal One's carefully ordered system was collapsing, but something new was growing in its place. Former slaves were becoming partners. Ancient enemies were learning to work together. We're receiving surrender messages from Eternal One's bases across 3 sectors, a communications officer reported. They say they want to learn our ways. They're asking for teachers. The captured Supreme Commander's database revealed the full history of the Empire. The Eternal Ones had ruled for so long because they stopped all progress. They thought staying the same meant staying strong. Instead, it had made them weak. Miller's ship led a mission to free a nearby slave world. They found the Eternal One's garrison had already surrendered. The local species had risen up as soon as they heard about Earth's victory. "Your quantum drives," an alien scientist said, studying the Defiance engines. "They break all the rules we were taught." The Eternal Ones said such things were impossible. "Nothing is impossible," Miller replied. "That's humanity's greatest strength. We don't accept limits. We don't stop at good enough." Thompson received a message from the remaining Eternal Ones leadership. They offered complete surrender with one condition. They wanted to understand how humanity had advanced so quickly. "Teach us," they asked. "Show us what we forgot. We ruled the galaxy for millions of years, but you proved that age means nothing without growth." The United Earth Council agreed. Earth would help rebuild the galaxy, not as rulers like the Eternal Ones, but as teachers and partners. They would share their technology, their ideas, their way of thinking. "The age of stagnation is over," Thompson announced to the galaxy. "Now we all grow together. Now we all learn from each other. The future belongs to those who dare to imagine it." The great empire had fallen, but something far better was rising to take its place. 1 year after the Great Battle, Earth had changed. Ships from 100 alien species filled the skies, coming to learn and trade. The planet that had once been alone in the universe had become the center of a new galactic community. Admiral Thompson stood in the newly built Galactic Council chamber, watching representatives from former slave worlds take their seats. The room had been designed to make everyone feel equal. No species sat higher than others. No one stood in shadows. "A year ago, we thought we were facing extinction," Thompson told the assembly. "Now we're helping build a better future for everyone." Captain Miller's ship, the Defiant, had become a training vessel. Its crew taught other species how to use quantum drive technology safely. More importantly, they taught them how to keep developing it, how to never stop improving. "The greatest danger is thinking you know everything," Miller told his alien students. "The moment you stop learning is the moment you start dying." That's what happened to the Eternal Ones. The former Empire's worlds were changing too. Their people had spent millions of years following old rules and ancient traditions. Now they were learning to think in new ways, to question everything they had believed. "We were wrong," a former Eternal One's elder admitted to the council. "We thought our age made us wise. Instead, it made us afraid of change. We forgot the most important lesson. The universe never stops growing." Earth's quantum drive technology had spread across the galaxy, but with careful controls to prevent misuse. Every species that received it had to agree to share their own knowledge in return. The age of keeping secrets was over. Thompson watched as mixed crews of humans and aliens worked together on new ships. They combined Earth's innovation with the deep knowledge of species who had watched the stars for millions of years. Together, they created things neither could have made alone. "Look at this," Miller said, showing Thompson the latest designs. "They've already improved our quantum drives. They understood things about space we hadn't even discovered yet. This is what cooperation looks like." The Watchers had become Earth's closest allies. Their centuries of careful observation and hidden intelligence found new purposes. Instead of watching in fear, they helped guide the development of the new galactic society. "We kept our minds sharp by staying curious," a Watcher explained. "Like humans, we never stopped asking questions. That's why we survived, and that's why we can help build something new." Young Eternal Ones came to Earth to study. They learned not just about technology, but about how to think differently, how to embrace change instead of fearing it. Many of them became leaders in the movement to transform their society. "Your species taught us something precious," one of them told Miller. "You showed us that strength comes from growth, not from power. That wisdom comes from questions, not from age." Thompson stood at his old command post, now part of a museum showing the battle that had changed everything. The display included pieces of the Eternal One's flagship, preserved as a reminder of both victory and responsibility. "We won because we had to," he told a group of visitors from across the galaxy. "We survived because we never stopped adapting. Now we have to remember those lessons. We have to keep growing, keep learning, keep working together." Earth's 12 battleships still patrolled space, but not as warriors. They had become symbols of protection and progress, helping maintain peace in a galaxy learning to live without masters and slaves. "This is just the beginning," Miller told his crew as they prepared for another training mission. "We've got an entire universe to explore, and now we can do it together. Every species brings something new. Every voice adds to the story." The galaxy had entered a new age, and it was better than anyone had imagined.